Happy Friday. I'm Wiley, watching the Wiley Report. We calling today Notes from the Field. I wrote some notes because these are like life experiences, lessons that I learned. So, hope y'all been having a good week. It's a great day here in Illinois. I'm grateful and feel joyous because I got to work from home. So that's good. That's good. That's good. I do get to go on campus a little later because I'm picking up my poster. But I was having this experience this week, and it mirrored some other experiences. And so, being a person that studies information science, I'm like, there's a pattern, there's a lesson in that. So I was journaling about it, and I edited it to share because maybe somebody else has had this experience too. It's not shots fired at anybody. It's not nefarious in any way. So just want to share. So before I went on sabbatical, I was serving on 9 committees. 9. Have to acknowledge that I said yes to almost everything because I wanted to show up. I wanted to contribute. I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself. I also am a recovering people pleaser. But hey, I digress. But my mom was sharing with me that my dad was always involved, helping people, always present for others. But she also told me something that's really stayed with me, and that's that after my dad passed, none of those people called. The memories of that conversation and just how those things repeat or have shown up in my life have really been sitting with me this past couple of weeks. And so in 2 different experiences, the following things happened. Someone asked me to take on a task and I didn't have capacity for it. I said no politely, clear, and I provided context. And their response was, "That's unfortunate." Then later, I was asked to handle an administrative task, and I responded honestly that I was deep in revision deadlines, and I encouraged them to repost the information themselves. And their response was, "I'm extremely busy as well. Good luck to you." The point in both of those experiences were they were different people, but they had a similar sting. And I say that because both of those people have held different spaces and places in my life. uh, some of those have been professional environments, and then some of those have been community groups. But both remind me how often no is heard as neglect rather than clarity. And I believe, no experience is ever wasted. And here's what I'm learning. Because I feel like in life, it always gives us teachable moments. And it's like, what can I learn about this outside of just how I feel and honoring how I feel? If that's limiting, if that's being upset, if that's being disappointed, holding space for that, but also figuring out what else could I learn from that. And here's what I'm learning. People often equate yes with care and no with disregard. Maybe it's because life rewards being overextended and it treats availability as care and silence as neglect. But the truth is, being everywhere for everyone often means being nowhere for yourself. And I'm learning that boundaries don't make me less generous. They don't make me less kind. They don't make me less collegial. Boundaries are they're also not well received, especially when we think about like communities that thrive on endless giving. But I am learning that saying no is a way of saying yes. And for somebody that's out there, like saying yes to what it means, saying yes to the work that matters, it's saying yes to what is purposeful, it's saying yes to my well being, it's saying yes to showing up in ways that are sustainable. And I acknowledge wholeheartedly that there are sometimes you might not always be able to do this. You might always not have the privilege, you might always not have the freedom, you might also not always have the power. So the context of that matters. But I do think what am I learning in these experiences is that it's about honoring capacity and care and the lessons that are inherited from those that gave too much. Because when I think about my father's life, I think of a wonderful person who often cared too much. I can remember the experience of hanging out with him in the spring break and, him having this statement, well, if he didn't do it, no one else would do it. I'm not saying he's wrong. He's gone now. He made his own decisions. In the irrationality of grief, sometimes I think that's what makes life unfair. That sometimes I wish that maybe if he had said no, if he had known how to take breaks, maybe he would still be here. I don't know. I mean, because I just think as Black people, my hope is that we always get to live long lives, and that we find pleasure and that we find joy and that we're able to enjoy our lives, not just you work so hard, you're at retirement and then you don't even get to enjoy it. And I know no one gets to decide when you're going to walk out of this life. You don't always get to decide when your time is up. But those are things that I really wrestle and think about, and then also think about how it relates to me in terms of, my father was my first teacher. He was one of the first people that in my family to complete a PhD program. So I think there's a lot of lessons, and he worked full time. And as I was on sabbatical, I had a real opportunity to look at my life, to really assess what was working, what did I, overcompensate, and sometimes the cost of what I did. I paid a lot for those. I paid a lot. I paid more than I was willing to pay, and sometimes I didn't know I would have to pay that. So it's a lot of unresolved tension. It's a lot of I didn't know that, and I didn't have the chance to know that until I had the opportunity to be on sabbatical and to really not only fulfill the requirements for sabbatical, but really look at my life. So I don't know. These are all lessons. If you're asking what does it all mean, I think of it in the context of the way my father used to say, you pay for your lessons, but your learning is free. That's all I got for today. I'm just sharing how I see it, my experiences. It's not nefarious. I'm not being unkind. I think those people said what they said. Cool. It was a lesson for me. I've learned in my own life, never overplay yourself, overplay your position in other people's lives. And some people, that's just how they respond. Their response is their response. Yet it teaches you something. It does. It does. Learn the lesson. Be safe out here. Y'all be careful. Take care of yourself. And remember, it's okay to say no sometimes. Some people just don't know what to do with that. And that's not your fault. Peace. Take care of yourself. Bye.